A more targeted approach to tackling crime and a greater emphasis on preventing crime by Southern Police is paying big dividends, with an 8% crime reduction for the year to the end of June. The decrease in crime in 2013 means there were 610 fewer offences committed than the previous year. This year sees the 7th consecutive drop in crime numbers, with property damage decreasing by 17%, public order offences falling 14% and theft offences down 16%. Burglary offences remained static, while illicit drug offences increased 2%. The positive policing results come on the back of a reported increased level of trust and confidence that southern communities have in police. From today, visitors to Stuart Island, Rakiura, will be charged an additional $5 in the form of a visitor's levy. The need for a levy was identified 35 years ago, and finally today residents celebrated its introduction.
The process has been a long one. Stuart Island Southland District Councillor Bruce Ford has been involved since the beginning.
The history of this thing has gone on since the early days of the Stuart Island County Council, to which I was a member and for a considerable time a chairman of that. And because we couldn't afford to pay for any of the facilities community-wise that had been mooted then, and of course over many times of different transport operators, the proposal has become lost a time or two, and we had to keep reinventing it.
The District Council did not want to charge ratepayers extra for infrastructure required by visitors to the island, so it was decided a levy incorporated into the cost of travel was the preferred option.
To have a levy like this, to have inflicted that on our ratepayers, would have been equivalent to $330 per ratepayer per year. And of course we really can't do that because it's a visitor facility. The ratepayers struggle enough without having to have that imposition.
Southland District Chief Executive Dave Adamson is pleased the levy is now in place and the island can progress further as a top tourist destination.
I think we've got a very small rating base on the island, and so the need for the levy to supplement rates has been a long time coming, and it's been about 35 years. It was first raised by the then County Council, Stuart Island County Council, so it's been a long time coming.
There's no shortage of projects that will benefit directly from the additional revenue injection.
Well, the visitors' levy is going to raise around about $150,000 a year, which will go to infrastructure. So it'll enable us to look at public toilets. There's still a number of public toilets at the end of walkways and things like that. It'll enable us to upgrade some of the walkways. We're getting a few of them that are collapsing in because of erosion and things like that. It'll enable us to do a whole pile of things around. The island's wanting to build a new museum, so some of the money may be able to go towards that. So it will all go towards enhancing the visitors' experience on the island, so that they've got things to do, a variety of things to do, and hopefully extend their visit to the island. The number of visitors is very sharp and very peaky, and so all of a sudden on one day you need a heck of a lot of resources, the next day you don't need anything. So Stuart Island's got some very unique characteristics.
Hunter Andrews, South Today News.
From today, banks will be restricted in the number of low deposit home loans they can issue. Banks are required to restrict new borrowing for residential mortgages, limiting 10% of lending to low deposit borrowers in a bid to take the heat out of an inflated property market. Most home buyers will be expected to pay a 20% deposit. A $130,000 deposit would be required in Auckland, where the average house is valued at $640,000, whereas $37,000 will be required to buy a property in Southland, with an average value of $186,000. Dozens of Chinese students gathered at the Southern Institute of Technology this morning to celebrate the Chinese National Day. Speeches from SIT representatives kicked off proceedings, which included raising the Chinese flag and singing China's national anthem. There are currently over 300 Chinese nationals studying at SIT, and President of the Chinese Student and Scholars Association, Harry Liu, says students enjoy sharing their culture with Kiwis.
They live in the Kiwis' house and they teaching them and to making dumpling and the Chinese pie, and sometimes they wear the Chinese clothes, traditional clothes, and sometimes and teaching them sing a song in Chinese, and also teach some Chinese words, and they can use like hello, ni hao, something else. Yeah.
How would you traditionally celebrate this important day?
Normally we will have 7 days holidays, and in these 7 days you can do everything celebration for the Chinese National Day, and some special acting. I think in the Beijing People's Square, and I think this morning, early morning, and they will have another Chinese flag raising up the celebration. Because I think more than thousands of people, they will around the People's Square and watching the flag and raised up.
Stay with us after the break. More on the mayoralty of Frana Cardno, and a date is set for the referendum on asset sales. Welcome back. A conference that takes teachers back to the classroom wrapped up at the Ascot Park Hotel in Invercargill today. Over 250 mainly primary sector teachers spent 2 days learning new ways to interact and developing learning tools to use in the classroom. This is the 6th biannual conference that's been run in the city, and it's become known for its dynamic presenters, and this year is no exception.
Wilson McCaskill has returned, and he's the king of movement. So even in the keynote with 265 people yesterday, he had them tapping left, right, elbow flick. So there's always movement in his workshops, which is exciting, and gives teachers an understanding of the challenges that they give student learners under pressure and making choices on the spot. So it's always nice to experience that as a learner yourself.
Why is it important that teachers become back and become learners again?
Well, education is a fast-moving landscape, as you know, so we have to remain learning and lifelong learners, and valuing learning and reflecting on our learning and creating new experiences so that we can take that back into our learning environments and keep stimulating as student learners. I think that's really important.
As far as technology goes, the changes over the years, are they really focusing on ways that schools can embrace and use it more?
Well, Jason Ola, who was our lead keynote yesterday, is passionate about bring your own device to the classroom. His key opening statement was, our children of today are banging on the door saying, let me in with my device. And then he spoke about the power of using the digital world to still enhance the literacy that we know, writing stories, the power of storytelling, but combining it with a range of fabulous new software that just brings it alive and makes movement and sound and gives children the creativity to add all of those graphic softwares that are available to their text.
It's an ILT sponsored event, but is it available for any teachers throughout the country to come to?
Yes, it is. We've gone online, so you register online, so the conference website's worldwide, obviously, and anyone can attend. And sometimes we've always had people from the far north, but not this year.
Retiring Southland District Mayor Frana Cardno has many fond memories of her time in the job. A special highlight was securing $900,000 for the Humpridge Track project in 2000.
You know, like we encourage communities to help themselves, and the Tuatapere community had come up with the idea of Humpridge Track, and they were really working hard, but they were short of money. And like, I was their patron. I've been their patron right through. And so, yes, Helen Clark was at Bluff. She offered me a ride in her car to Invercargill, and she'll jokingly tell you that was one of her most expensive rides, because in my handbag, I always have a big handbag, there was all about the Humpridge Track and how they were, I think it was about $900,000 short, and you know, and the passionate story of a community that had been native logging, and that had stopped, and you know, it was really the government's responsibility to help that community to help themselves. And yeah, 3 months later, I was on my way with Murray on holiday at the Christchurch airport and was told to get back to Invercargill. The Minister of Tourism had a cheque, and I'd better be there to accept it because it's my fault that it was coming. So I just left my husband at the airport and caught the next plane back to Southland, and along with members of the Humpridge Track, we gratefully received that cheque.
Other highlights for you?
Oh, there's been lots of highlights, but my main highlights, I guess, I've met lots of wonderful people in all walks of life right throughout New Zealand and throughout the world. But the biggest highlights for me is helping those communities. We have fantastic little communities in Southland, from Stuart Island the Catlins, and one coming up, getting that Livi for Stuart Island. That has taken years and years, and talking to select committees about it, the whole works. And for that to happen is just fantastic. And, like Tihikoi, look at that community, the hours they put in. And, I helped a bit by going to central government and getting money to help them. And so they were my real highlights. And of course, getting that library in town and that was great. It's been a real pleasure being the Mayor of Southland District, and I do love my job, but I always said that I was going to get out while I loved it, and sort of people still quite liked me.
Couple of issues down here at the moment. The A to B boat race, your thoughts on that? You're from a nautical family, obviously.
Oh, yeah, I think it's a great idea. I support Tim in that. And I think that events like that puts Bluff and Southland on the map. And it puts us on a worldwide map. You look at those sort of things, even the Kepler Challenge, they come from all over the world to do that. And it's booked out in the first, someone said just a few minutes, and I think people would come from all over to do that race. It's unique, it's a challenge, and it's different. And so I know it costs a lot of money, but I would like to see it happen.
And we wish Frana the very best for her future retirement. The National Government has announced a date for the citizens-initiated referendum on the sale of state assets, which will be conducted by postal ballot, opening on the 22nd of November and closing on December 13th of this year. The referendum will ask whether New Zealanders support the government's sale of up to 49% of Meridian, Mighty River Power, Genesis Power, Solid Energy and Air New Zealand. The referendum is non-binding and is expected to cost $9 million. And that's it from the news desk. Coming up in sport, former All Black captain Stu Wilson. From the news team, good night.